something that they are looking into right now. Congressman McCaul joins us on the phone live. Good morning to you. We certainly appreciate you joining us from Washington, D.C. this morning. In a case like this, the first thing that I heard reported is that we didn't have to worry about that. But there have to still be concerns about that being a possibility, right?
Well, you can't rule it out completely. At this point in time, it's being handled as a criminal investigation, not by the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So that's very instructive in terms of the evidence coming in and how they perceive this case. But it's way too early and preliminary in the investigation to rule it out completely. I do think you're dealing with an individual that had mental illness issues, possibly PTSD, which led to this unfortunate tragic shooting. I must say, this hits hard and it hits home. For me, I went to the ceremony when we had the 13 soldiers killed by Major Hassan, and it's so tragic to see Fort Hood struck down once again. And it just demonstrates how soft our military bases still are. They are still a target not only of terrorists, but people with possibly PTSD issues. And I think we need to look at how we can harden these military bases where our military are utterly defenseless to these types of shootings. And so I think Congress is going to be taking a look at this in terms of how we can make them safer.
Now, Congressman, you are chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, so this apparently has to be something that your committee will be looking at, and that is the security for military posts and or bases. Since 2009, have you seen an improvement that could have possibly prevented what happened yesterday?
You know, not really. I think the Department of Defense came out with a report with recommendations. We'll be examining how many of those recommendations have really been implemented. Part of my job is prevention, to stop things like this from happening, particularly on our military bases, which we know are still vulnerable. But the fact that this guy could drive on the base with a .45 caliber pistol and wound 14 and kill 4 others just shows you that we're still not where we need to be. I think that's something that we'll be looking at in terms of our oversight capability in the Congress to harden these military bases. This is just one of many, many cases out there, both terrorism related, but also mental illness cases where we've seen shooters come onto bases. And frankly, in Fort Hood, we were able to stop a terrorist attack where a terrorist was going to blow up a Chinese restaurant and kill soldiers from Fort Hood at that restaurant. We were very lucky in that case. Unfortunately, we were not so lucky yesterday.
Oh, no, it's a tough thing, especially with it being in our own backyard. I feel that we feel so connected to Fort Hood in the Houston area. And at this point, we haven't heard a whole lot about the victims. Have you heard about anything about them, perhaps if any of them might have been from the Houston area?
You know, I have not. We have not received a list of all the victims and their names. Obviously, the Department of Defense is protective at this point for obvious reasons. But we know that most of them were active duty soldiers. So they say soldier on soldier. That just means that you have one active duty soldier killing other soldiers like Major Hassan did. And so it's really hard and painful and difficult to accept this kind of tragedy, why one soldier active duty would kill other active duty soldiers. And for it to happen again at Fort Hood, again, as I said, hits home and hard and very difficult to accept. But we need to look at this and from a lessons learned standpoint, how can we change this? I think it's unacceptable so long now after what Major Hassan did for Fort Hood and other military bases to be that vulnerable and that soft of a target when we know the threats to our military bases are real and they've been demonstrated historically. So we need to learn how to harden these military bases better than what we're doing right now.
Congressman Michael McCaul, chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, thank you so very much for joining us this morning and weighing in on another tragic situation.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we do realize it's a busy time for you, and we are very appreciative. Good to hear from him today.
Well, it's 7:38 right now.